Hello and welcome to the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. My name is Dean Jackson, and today we've got something very different than what we normally do on the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. Normally we have a business owner who's got a business up and going, and we can identify who your target audience is and get them to raise their hand and educate and motivate and make irresistible offers and deliver a dream come true result. All those things that we need to do to apply the profit activators to their business. And today we have an author. We have Randall Floyd with us, who writes books for young adults and fiction books. He's got his first one out right now, just kind of getting started, has a handful of sales. But we had a really great conversation about how to think about applying the 8 profit activators to a fiction book sort of environment. And, I think by the end of the call, we actually went a little long, because by the end, the ideas were just flowing and we'd expanded the idea from, just a book into a much bigger vision for the whole, of the idea. So I really enjoyed this one. I think you're going to enjoy it too. And I'll see you on the other side. Randall Floyd.
Yeah, hi, Dean. How are you?
I'm so good. How are you?
I'm good.
Well, I am excited to talk to you today. I think it's going to be a very interesting conversation.
Me too. I'm super nervous.
Oh, really? Wow. Well, I think, this is kind of an interesting thing because I've never had sort of a fiction author on on More Cheese Less Whiskers. And so it's an interesting thing because I want to have a really great conversation about it and about the process here. How would you apply the 8 profit activators to this kind of a pursuit here? So can you tell me kind of the Randall Floyd story here and kind of paint the picture of what we're working with?
Yeah, sure. So I have a regular job too. I'm an attorney by day, but with my fiction writing, I write kid books between the ages of anywhere from 7 years old all the way up to middle school. I actually, for the most part, I live in a fifth wheel, and my family travels a lot, so I do a lot of my work from home. And in order to spend more time with my family, I've been doing fiction writing, and so that I can kind of jump onto being able to not have to be tied down as much with my job as an attorney. And so I've been writing books for the last couple of years, and it's been fun. It's just I've been trying to figure out how to get the 8 profit activators and stuff like that. Just trying to frame it around this venture that I've been doing right now with the book.
Well, I'm interested to hear how you even came into knowing about the 8 profit activators or meeting. How did we end up connecting?
So it was actually 3 or 4 years ago. I just was looking. I had a really long commute to work, and I stumbled upon your I Love Marketing podcast. And I probably listened to like 150 episodes.
Wow, yeah.
I just really enjoyed listening to it. And I was really, honestly, it was just through the podcast. And last year I heard that you were doing, or 2016, I heard you were doing the More Cheese Less Whiskers podcast. And so I started listening to that as well. And then I just shot you an email just to see if this is something you'd be interested in talking about, because I hadn't seen anything specifically for fiction writing, and I didn't know,
right.
If this is something that you'd even want to want to look at. So I guess in a nutshell, that's kind of how it started.
Gotcha. Okay. Well, I mean, that's kind of fascinating, So, have you been? How many books do you have published so far?
So I'm just about ready to publish the second book in my series. So they're kind of they're longer, a little bit. So it takes me about 6 months to write each one. So yeah. So number 2 will be probably in about a week or so.
Okay.
Launch it.
And what's the genre? Like, what kind of what's the book? What are the books about?
So they're young adult fantasy, and these ones are set in just modern time, in like Sacramento and in the Pacific Northwest. And they're in the veins of some of the there's several other authors that I kind of really enjoyed reading when I was a kid that I'm just kind of writing towards that. So there's Percy Jackson, from Rick Riordan, and then there's a couple of other authors that are in that niche. And so it's mostly just young adult fiction and fantasy.
I gotcha. Okay. And are you self-published, or are you with a publisher, or?
I'm self-published, yeah.
Okay. And so you publish on Amazon?
I do, and I'm trying to publish on the other platforms as well.
And how's it going so far with the first book?
Well, the sales, I'm selling probably 1 to 2 novels a day right now, on Amazon, but that's really without any external forces driving the sales to them at this point. And I've only had a few reviews and stuff like that, but I don't know. I guess the people that have read them have really enjoyed the book so far.
I gotcha. And so, how many books have you sold, or does Amazon? I guess you would know that, wouldn't you?
Yeah, 350.
Okay, so 350 books, and your, I guess part of the challenge, right, is that these are people that are invisible to you, right? They buy the book and you don't know who they are, and it may be that the parents have technically is probably who bought the book, right?
Right.
Yeah. So, is there any kind of invitation for people to connect with you, like to join in some way, so you can know who they are? Like, so is there something that you offer to have people share their email address or their?
Yes. So in the beginning and the end of my book, I have an offer for them to get free sample of the next book in the series, because it hasn't been written yet, completed and published yet. So that's, they have the option to get a copy of that by clicking on a link that sends them to my page that tells them about the next book and offers for them to download it so that I can get their email address.
Okay. And how many people have done that so far?
Well, my email list has about 230 people on it right now.
But are those, or did they all come from the book, or is there something else that you've done to?
No. So I some of those came from a free promotion that I did. And I've only had a couple, maybe 5 or 6 people sign up through my book.
Right. Okay.
And that's kind of the hard part, is just because Amazon they don't give any information out, and so getting people to jump from reading my book in order to let me know that they've read my book and stuff like that has been a little bit of a struggle.
I gotcha. And is there some are there any restrictions on what you can do to encourage people to leave their information?
Not that I'm aware of. I mean, there's certain restrictions on the kinds of links, I guess, that you can put in your book, but it's not anything like you can. I just lead them to a page on my website, It's
Yes,
not a big deal. You just can't be misleading at all. That's the
I
only thing.
gotcha. Do most of the people buy the Kindle book or physical?
The Kindle book.
That's the biggest. What would be the breakdown?
Yes. Probably 95% by the Kindle book.
95% buy the Kindle book. Okay. And okay. And then what do you do with the 250 people that you have now? What happens with those?
So I send them sometimes monthly, sometimes every couple of weeks, just updates on me and the next book and stuff like that. So I'm going to be having somebody do an audiobook version of this. And so
Mm-hmm.
I send an email that lets people know, the voices, and they can like email me back and see which one that they wanted to actually narrate the voice and updates on the next book and, insider, just information just about how the process is going and when the next book is going to be coming out.
And do you have any sense of whether it's the parents or the kids that are on the email?
And so honestly, it's all parents, and funny enough, the books are written for kids for those grades and stuff, but a lot of the parents are actually the ones who are reading the books.
Uh-huh. Well, that's probably not untrue of the whole young adult genre, right? That's really
Right.
what that's probably true. Wasn't the whole Twilight series was considered young adult, wasn't it?
I
And
think so, yeah.
Hunger Games, all those that's where they all came from, right?
Right. Yeah, yeah.
Hmm. So, it's an interesting you know, segment of the market, that sort of 7 to, what would you say would be the top range for you?
Sorry, what was that?
What the age group, the primary focus for you?
Um, yeah, just right at the end of middle school age. So,
Okay. Yeah.
14,
So
15.
7 to 13, 12, 13, right, exactly. Okay. It's the end of middle school. Yeah.
Mhm.
And okay, so let's think about the kind of dream come true experience that a 7 to 12 or 13-year-old is looking for from a book. Because if I'm going by the approach that I would take to applying the 8 profit activators here, it all has to begin with what would be a dream come true for your audience. What would be a dream come true for them? Like, if you imagine, what's the like peak examples of what is most popular in that age group right now, as to what you would kind of aspire to?
Right. So it would be, they get it, and read it and really, really enjoy it. And then I tell, because I have my contact information in there, let them know or let me know that they liked it. Um, and obviously that they would tell their friends about it, or, their parents or whatever. And then
Mhm.
obviously that they would, I mean, the books themselves, they're fun. They move from one thing to the next. They're fairly action packed and stuff like that. I just want them to like blast through the book as quickly as possible, I guess, and really enjoy it. And that would probably be, I guess, the dream come true.
Mhm. And so, for them, are you finding that how is that actual category of readership doing? Like, I look at it right now, like what's changed even in this crop of 7 to 12-year-olds. It's really all about, I mean, it seems like what's happening right now is Fortnite and
Right.
online things, is where that's going, or where it's that's certainly what has their attention now. compared to 10 years ago, let's say,
Right.
where the way that kids were expressing their or engaging their imagination 10, 20 years ago was, it feels like there was a bigger role for something like Harry Potter to have that kind of phenomenon um, happen. But now it feels like some of that audience may have attention has gone um, to the online games where it's more interactive. Is that, I don't have any data to kind of point to whether that's true. Do you? Like, do you know, is it a shrinking audience, or are more kids than ever reading, or is it a struggle to really kind of get kids engaged in books?
Well, I know that their attention is divided now more than ever between so many different things they have going on, including all the stuff that they're doing
Mm-hmm.
online and stuff. Um, I know that there's a lot of kids that are reading. I mean, but obviously, if they are reading, more than likely they're reading more digital books. But in looking and thinking about how I wanted to market this, um, I I do believe that the kids themselves are probably doing less reading than they were before, and um, somehow the books are still selling really
Yeah.
well. And so my only conclusion from that isn't that um, because I'd love it if kids read my books because they have the good values and things like that, and good messages. But I think honestly, the majority of the people that are going to be reading my book and a lot of the books that end up getting read in the young adult genre are getting read um, by adults. From based on my experience, at least, looking at
Yeah.
thousands and thousands of reviews and stuff like that, it's adults that are reading the reviews, and there's a lot of adults that are reading them, and a
Uh-huh.
lot of them read the young adult books because they don't like the tones and some of the other things that come in the more adult genre books, that are written for an older audience.
Gotcha. And so if you were looking at what would be considered the best practices for marketing fiction books in this genre, what would be sort of the um, textbook things, like the things that would be what everybody would say to do?
Well, the successful self-published authors, a lot of them, they have their free book or free um, that they offer as an intro to a series, because a lot of the really successful fiction authors do series books.
Yes.
And then they drive traffic to that either through Amazon ads or Facebook ads, because those are the most cost effective, because the overhead on selling a book is really, um, I guess the ads compared to how much books are selling for. You've got to have lower priced ads, and it's easiest to do that on Amazon. And Facebook, if you do it right, to drive those audiences to either a page that shows the book or to the Amazon page or wherever you're selling, and giving that book away for free, and then getting that book. And in order for them to get the book, then they have to get their email address, and then a lot of their list building though is done specifically through Facebook ads
Mm-hmm.
and Amazon ads.
Yeah. And have you done any of that? Have you done any Facebook ads or?
No, I haven't done Facebook ads. I've just been predominantly using Amazon ads. And my reason for doing that is mostly just because when people are on Amazon, they're already in the mood to buy books. And in Facebook, I have to take another leap and pull them out of whatever they're doing at that time, bring
Yeah.
them to Amazon and convince them to buy a book. And so it's just one less step
Yes.
in order to get people to buy my books.
I got it. I mean, if I was looking at this, um, the thing, how many, um, it feels like in this series, like how deep do you think this series could go? Do you have like an arc for it that it could be, 10 books, or is it an ongoing thing?
So the arc for this one is 5 books, and I want to get all those finished within the next year and a half. The last
Uh-huh.
3 books, because I'm just finishing up this one. But I do have plans to make it bigger than that. But I wanted to get the initial 5 arc series taken care of first.
I gotcha. Okay. And how much do the books sell for?
$4.99 for the ones that are below 50,000 or 75,000 words, and then if they go over 75,000, then $5.99.
Okay. And is that a policy of Amazon?
No, that's just how I'm doing it.
Okay. Um, excuse me. Okay. And of that, then, just to get a sense of the economics of it here. And so of that, so it sells for $5. How much of that do you get after Amazon?
70%.
Okay, so you get 350 of it, and they get 250 of it. Is that right? Yeah. Or
right.
no, they get
that's right.
150 of it. Right.
Yeah.
Okay. And so, yeah, I get the idea there that, that doesn't leave you much. That doesn't leave you much room there. In terms of if you're looking to make it profitable. But the reality is that the thing that would make a series like that work is to have a lot more people invested in the first one, right? So if you look at it in terms of uh, um, a capital investment, in terms of not looking at it as an expense thing. Part of the thing that I think people struggle with when you're trying to break into a new audience is in any artistic endeavor, right? It's just like music in a way, trying to break into music, is that people don't know you, right? They don't know Randall Floyd. They don't know the series, or they don't know it even exists, right? And there's so many options for them out in the world to choose from. And so it's important that if, that's why all of a sudden, if you were to get on Ellen or Oprah or, something where all of a sudden it's everybody knows about you, then that's going to draw people into to give it a try, right? And then if it continues, then people are hooked. And what's going to be really interesting for you is to know what level of uptake you get on the series kind of thing, right? Whether people will buy the second and the third and the fourth and the fifth book in the series. That's really where all of the money comes from, right? If you think about the long term or the lifetime value of this, where if we're looking at that, there's ultimately 5 books in the series, and you can make $3.50 per title. You're talking about $17 lifetime value of a new reader if they buy all 5, right?
Right.
So it has to be high volume there to make that happen. Now, is there any desire on your part to have any deeper sort of experiential thing, or any multimedia for this, or any anything else along with it? Or what would be your dream come true? I mean, would your dream come true be to just write these books and then magically people buy them and you just get to keep writing the books? Or what is it about this that gets you excited?
Well, I enjoy reading books and writing them, but I guess in the future, if I could have, I mean, there'd be a little bit of interaction. I want to have stuff related to the series available for people to do on my website for them. Just like, information about characters and
Yeah.
things like that, where they can come and see like bios and just artwork and things like that. But I guess my ultimate goal with this is I would like to, because, so just for a little bit of background, I've got 4 kids, um, and they all really enjoy writing. And so my ultimate goal would be to create some kind of platform where people see me as a good author, so that I can help other young authors. And so I wanted this also to coincide with being able to help and co-author books with young authors to kind of get their feet wet and jump off. So I guess ultimately that's where I wanted this to go, or something like that. But with the book series itself, I would love to be able to have something on a website. And I don't know. I mean, I haven't really thought about doing a whole lot of media or interactive stuff, because I don't really know what there is. I mean, there's all kinds of things that people could do, but I mean, having the more people that are staying on my website and interacting with the characters and stuff like that, I think the more exposure that I'm ultimately going to get. But I haven't gone beyond just having more information on the website about the characters in the books and things like that at this point.
And I wonder, that might be because about building this community might be the real thing. I wonder, is there a main character in the book, like a lead? What do you call them? A protagonist?
Yeah, the protagonist. Yeah.
So tell me about the protagonist.
So he's 14, just a young kid, and he lives in Sacramento. He's got his mom, who was the only parent because his dad has died several years before, and he's just trying to figure out how to just to be a normal kid. And as he's going through trying to figure that out, he finds out that that some mythical creatures like griffins and dragons and stuff like that, they turn out to be real. And so it's him trying to explore this new world of these creatures and trying to figure out what's going on and how it applies with him. And I guess in that respect.
And what kind of adventures do they get in, or what does that lead into? Do you have a group of friends, or what kind of what's the storyline?
Yeah, so he works at a museum, and so when he's at this museum, there's some shady things going on, and this girl who's his age shows up, and he's never met her before, and she kind of talks him through what's going on, and then they join up together to try and figure out what's going on at this museum. And so the story is him with her and some other characters as they're trying to first he has to kind of figure out what's going on with all these mythical creatures, and then when he finds out they're real, then he has to go and he's going to interact with each one of them, the different main types of these creatures, and trying to help them to stop fighting along with each other, and trying to help them interact with the rest of the world in a way that is probably better than they've been doing in the past. I mean, I don't know how specific you want me. I don't mind.
Yeah, no. I'm just trying to sense of where this could be, so that what I'm looking for is how could this carry out of the pages into kind of an online experience, or onto almost you think about the other phenomena of the Pokemon Go, how that really was like, it seems like these things really, I don't know whether that's still going strong, Pokemon Go, but for a while it was like all everywhere, right? Everybody was Pokemon crazy when they just dropped it, and it came out, but is it still a big thing, or is it
Yeah, there's still a lot of people that use it right now,
Pokemon
for
Go?
sure.
Yeah. Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I was thinking of some other things. I know that uh, with Harry Potter, she does certain things where one of the ones is, what wizard house would you be in, and you can kind of take like surveys, and you get specific information if you're in one of those. And I was thinking that because these mythical creatures, they can assume their form and they can be humans as well. I thought it would be fun to kind of set something up where people could do something and they could become, just see which mythical creature they would be if they were in this world, and do like
Yeah.
a survey or something like that, and then give them specific emails and things like that, and different things that would apply specifically to them if they were one of those.
Yeah. And so, it's really an interesting thing. Like, I wonder, uh, part of my thinking around that is how you can kind of get their attention, get the attention of those, of the kids or the parents. I guess that's where I'm wondering who drives the decision. Like, is it the kids hearing about this and coming to their parents and saying, "Hey, can you get me this one?" Or is it the parents, saying, um, "This is, I think you'd like this," or I wonder how that happens.
Mm-hmm.
Have you do you know, have you had any kind of feedback or conversations or um, engagement?
So it's both ways. I mean, and this is mostly just anecdotal because it's from the kids in my area, where I
Mm-hmm.
live in Portland. But it goes both ways. I mean, the kids read books and stuff at school, and then for whatever reason, I'm getting parents, every week or so that send me some kind of email asking for book recommendations for their kids because their kids are looking for more books to read because they don't have enough. So
Mm-hmm.
it's both ways for
Mm.
sure.
Well, that's good. I mean, when you start looking at that how many pages is a typical one of your books? I don't know what 55,000 or whatever words breaks down to.
They're generally between 250 to 350 words. Just a regular
Pages.
novel. Yeah.
Pages, you mean?
Pages,
Yeah,
I
yeah.
mean. Sorry. Yeah, I meant pages.
Okay. Um, One of the things that I've been observing is to see what's happening with the uh, James Patterson books. He's been pioneering these, what he calls book shots, and they're 130 to 150 page books that are
Hmm.
kind of fast reading, fast you know going. And I'm wondering if, like, where my thoughts would go on this is looking at having them, if it takes you 6 months to put one out, in the life of a 7 to 12-year-old, that's a lifetime in a way, right? And
Right.
so
Right.
part of the thing that I would wonder and look at is, could you put out the series, instead of breaking it into five, having it be 10, that could, you know, double the number of books, but it could also, double the revenue that you could make as well.
Right. Well, I guess if they're shorter, it would obviously I'd be able to put them out quite a bit faster.
That's what I'm wondering, right? And it keeps that momentum going and
Hmm.
keeps people, you could keep that engagement going. Plus, they're going to be tighter linked to the continuity of it. Like, each one is going to kind of feel like it's um, left off as a, where there's a real strong, like, continuation into the next one. Or are they all self contained?
No, they're all a continuation.
Yeah, okay, so it is a continuation. Okay. So I'm just thinking about like how to look at these as how I would look at it as an opportunity to um build that audience momentum faster. And it feels like, boy, if you had two or three of them in the series, that might be a good um, way. It wouldn't almost make sense to put a lot of money into um, advertising the one book because it doesn't make economic sense to do that right now
Right.
unless and until you have the next ones. Like if you had three in the series, that it would feel like somebody could gather some momentum on it, like while they're really kind of looking at it, especially since we're really, we're kind of as a society becoming this binge culture, right? Where all of a sudden, like a new season of something drops 10 episodes in Netflix, and
Right.
there's your next 2 weekends gone, right? Watching all of these episodes, binging all the way through. And one of my favorite things, especially on Netflix, is to find a series that you can go into, we're just watching, like I'm in the middle of it right now, where we've been watching a series on Netflix called Better Call Saul. And I don't
Hmm.
know whether you've seen that. It's funny enough, he's an attorney. Um, have you heard of it or seen it?
I've heard of it, but I haven't seen it.
It's very well done, like really great. And so there's 3 seasons, and I love to get engaged in a series where I can continue to bask in that environment, for a while here. That's been a few weeks that we've been watching this series now, right? And we're halfway through season 3, which is the last available season on there right now. And I'm already kind of mourning the next, the end of the series, but I'm also looking forward to the next one.
Right.
And so I look at it that nobody's going to know what a prolific or great or impactful author you are until we're looking back at it over the body of work that you have. Like
Mhm.
have you got ideas a minute? Like, I mean, if after this five, what was five, now 10 book arc here, have you got the next series in mind, or the next things, or has this been kind of floating around and this is you just had to get this series out of your out in the world?
No, I've got at least 4 other series all planned out.
Okay. And that's kind of I think that's a really um, interesting thing, that I think the velocity of this is really going to help, like I think I would definitely look at shortening them, especially with that um, age group, right? It feels
Hmm.
like that an accomplishment of finishing the books, as opposed to um, not finishing them or feeling like they're making that progress. And it also builds in that sort of um, progression there.
Yeah. Well, I think honestly, after talking, I'm probably now I'm going to just redo a little bit, and I'm probably going to break my first book up into 2 books,
That makes
because
sense.
I can, and I can break this one up into 3 books, so that I'm just finishing right now. I can have 5 books done in the next month. Would
And that,
probably
I
be a
think,
really good idea.
that would make a big difference, because now all of a sudden you're like, oh wow, I didn't know, look at this guy. Like, when you see that there's more available, that
Hmm.
changes the thing. It's like, oh, okay, this is a series. I can dive right in here. That, I think, and to keep that momentum going. Because right now, if somebody finishes your book and they absolutely love it, you have no way of knowing it
Yeah.
until, you release the second book. And so, whether you've got the relationship with them yourself or through Amazon, that's going to be the fastest indicator, is to watch the sales of the second and the third and the fourth. Like, imagine, if you're saying now, that excites me to think that in 1 month from now, you could have the first 5 books in this series out there. That now makes it much more viable to turn new people onto it.
Yeah. Well, and there's so many things that and things like that, and there's so many other options too for just to get people to purchase the book.
Yeah. So I think that could be an exciting thing. And then the question becomes, how do you get the word out about this? Like, how do you now um, get it out there? And even though there are millions of 7 to 14-year-olds, out there, that you can't reach them all initially. So we've got to kind of put some constraints on there. And
Right.
I would kind of look at how could you get a full kind of immersion um, impact in a specific geographic market. Like, the thing about 7 to 12 or 13, 14-year-olds is that they're very, very clustered kind of locally. Their world is local. They're not traveling. They're not, they're not even driving. Like, I remember, no, I was just having a conversation about this, right? Like, right now, at this moment, I look at my life and I look at uh, my sort of global um, um, community, right? Like, so I was having this conversation. I did a podcast with James Schramko, and we were talking about this idea that, I go to Australia every year, and I go to Toronto and London and Amsterdam, and we've got these great communities built there, and I have some really great relationships with people in those in all those places. So my kind of footprint feels more global, or my neighborhood feels global. But we were talking about how when you're 7, until you get a driver's license, right? When your world is, at 7, until like middle school, your world is really your neighborhood, immediate neighborhood, where you can be within eyesight of your front door, and wherever your parents take you for play dates or people at school. And in middle school, it kind of expands a little bit, because you probably have a bike now, and you are, moving around a little more into the neighborhood, not so much just on your street kind of thing. So your world expands a little bit, because you don't need that sort of constant supervision there. But where I'm going with that is that I wonder if there's a way that you could go all in on taking over the hearts and minds of the 7 to 10-year-olds in Poughkeepsie, or somewhere, some specific area. How could you kind of expand an audience? Like, it's kind of a thing that movies do when they're independent movies that can't afford a wide release. They'll start and they'll go in limited release in Boston and New York or in one particular area, and they'll focus all of their advertising and all of their awareness and stuff in that one area, and then take those the profits from there and go to the next city. Like back in the old days, they would call that in the film business four walling, right? Where they would go and rent the theaters and get the word out and sell all the tickets and stuff like that. And so I'm curious about and would approach this with that same kind of mindset, right? Like you've got the reality is there's been 300 people who've read your book, and you don't know where they are, right? Because they're kind of all over the place. But
Right.
it would be an interesting thing if you did, if you took an approach that, where do you live right now?
I'm in Portland.
You're in Portland. Okay, so if you just took Portland, for instance, you wonder, how many 7 to 13-year-olds are there in Portland right now that are looking for something to read,
Yeah, there's a lot. I mean, there's a couple million people just in the Portland area.
Yeah.
And I don't know how many people. And then there's also, I mean, on the north side of the Columbia River in Vancouver, there's another 300,000 people.
In Vancouver.
So there's a lot of people in the area. And I don't know how many kids there are, but it's
Right.
a large percentage of those numbers.
Right. So I look at that and I start to think that's really where I would start with this. And I may start with Happy Valley or Clackamas or something, just to start with even an area of that. That's kind of like, how do you get in front of all of the people there? And I think that there's some neat, on Facebook right now, there's, a targeting feature called, where you can target parents of kids in a particular age group, right? You can't target the kids themselves, but the presence of kids, right? And so it's an interesting thing that might be a way to, kind of get in front of potential readers there. But you also start to think, how else could you, from the ground up too, like if the kids are hearing about this, or if the kids are, how can you create this awareness about curiosity about and enthusiasm for checking out something new,
Mm-hmm. I don't know. I mean, that's a really good question.
And these are the things I'm saying. Like, I don't really. This is this is why I was excited about talking to you, because I don't have the, like in most business things, right, where I can say, here's what to do. But this is kind of a opportunity that I was excited to maybe have the conversation and to think how I would think about this, right? How I would approach this is that if you're going to have the number one selling, young adult reader series, that it's got to start with all of the kids in Portland,
Yeah.
It's almost like a local. We had, I don't know whether you heard the episode that Joe Polish and I did with Damon John on I Love Marketing, and when he had his book called The Power of Broke, And
Oh, yeah.
one of the things we were talking about was this idea, because I've been fascinated by it, of if you think about everything that is global and dominant was at one point local and brand new. And, when you look at the fact that, Oprah was a local Chicago or, some Mississippi weather person, I mean, that's how it started. And the Oprah Winfrey Show was a
Hmm.
local show in Chicago. Uh, but you can't hide greatness, That's really the thing. It's like you have to focus on that. All these bands that become the biggest bands in the world started out as the best band in their local area, you know. Or I've joked with Damon. There's a movie um, about U2, their early days, and they were billed as the second best band in Dublin, which is kind of funny when you think about
Yeah, that is
that
funny.
the second best band in Dublin went on to become the biggest band ever in the world, And
Uh-huh.
so you start to think about this. What if we took this thing and almost like, I don't know if there's a way to kind of blur the lines of reality on the existence of your protagonist, of whether you really like can personify that person, I don't know.
So what do you mean by
Well, I
like
just
what are
start
the
to think
lines?
about it like what would it be? Uh, is there an would there be? I'm just thinking about the convergence. If I'm thinking like with my full creative green light hat on, of just brainstorming ideas, thinking about what comes to the surface for me is if there's a way to converge all the things that are going on right now, like what has the attention of these 7 to 13-year-olds right now. If I were to list the things that we kind of talked about, and maybe some other things, if I would just say, you know, uh, the Fortnite for sure, the Logan Paul and Jake Paul
Hmm.
probably are right up there, right? That whole phenomenon, even that's kind of that kind of blew up a little bit, but I mean, that audience is still there, fastest growing audience ever. Um, and you think about Pokemon um, in that world, and I would start to look about how could you almost kind of marry those three things. Like what would happen if your protagonist, was actually a real YouTuber, for instance. If you start to think about how this could go.
Oh, that's really well. That's interesting. I mean, I know I'm going to create at least a Twitter handle for each of the main characters.
Yeah.
But going above and beyond that um, would be even that, that sounds like fun.
Like it's kind of
Um,
fantasy and reality. Like we're definitely getting into that world where the YouTubers are like real kids do not know real celebrities from YouTube celebrities, right? If you were to list the most famous people, do you see how old are your kids?
6 and then 9, 10, and 11, and that's
Uh,
totally true. Like my 6-year-old thinks that, well, there's a YouTube channel called Dude Perfect, and all these guys do is these
right.
random like trick shots. And
Yes.
he wants like he had me send them an email asking them to create a Dude Perfect land so that he could go and do trick shots in Austin, Texas. And so
Right.
I totally understand.
Right. And I mean, so you're the 9, 11-year olds, those are probably deep in the, or were in the the Jake and Logan Paul situation, I'm sure, um, or Fortnite. I don't know what your policy on gaming is or whatever in your family, but aside from that, that would probably be a good guess, right?
Uh-huh.
Yeah. And so I wonder if you're either embracing that and trying to merge and be adjacent to it, or whether you, in your mind, are going as a opposite of that, an alternative to that, that parents are trying to get, and this is what role are you filling in this experience for people, right? Like our parents or kids are the kids who are reading your book is your audience, your ideal audience, that they're as an alternative to gaming and to YouTube, like are the parents who are encouraging their kids to read your book sort of romanticizing the past of using your imagination the old-fashioned way, right, or the traditional way, versus this artificial stimulation and limiting the screen time and all that stuff? Or are your audience embracing that and maybe uh, giving the vegetables along with some, like you think about where you fit in this, and I don't know
Mhm.
where you stand philosophically on the role of this in a child's development, or whether you even give that any thought or whatever.
Well, I want it's right down the middle as far as what parents think that have
Yeah,
read my book and with their kids, as far as, because I know a lot of parents really do want to have
yeah,
other ways for their kids to spend their time other than being glued to the whatever device that they're using. But I think that my ultimate goal is I really just want to give um, parents and kids just an option, and this is really stemming from another company that I'm fairly familiar with called VidAngel, and what VidAngel does is they filter movies so that they make them cleaner for families. But it's not
ah,
the filtering part that I'm interested in. It's the fact that they have over 1 million people that subscribe to their service that
yes,
really they want cleaner content for them and for their
yeah,
families. And so
yeah,
it's really that's kind of where I'm going. Is
yeah,
I want people to have, because I know that one of the biggest concerns that I have when my kids go to school or check out the libraries and stuff like that is that they're going to read books that have content in them that I, one, either don't think that they're mature enough to read, or two, don't want them to read in the first place. I would like
uh-huh,
to give parents the opportunity to have those kinds of books for their kids. So whether it's creating some kind of YouTube channel that would enforce that same idea, or just having a whole ton of books that just give parents that opportunity. Like that's, I
yeah,
guess that's the market really that I'm going for.
yeah. And that's so I think that almost, you've got to really kind of embrace like this. If I were to look at this idea, I would be totally looking to embrace that um, convergence, of being it so that they can carry the passion that they have, online, or on YouTube, or on uh, into the book. Then, right, when the kids are, because as soon as the parents say, "Okay, turn off that," turn off and get ready for bed, we often encourage that the kids can read. Go to bed and you can read for 20 minutes or whatever. That
Uh-huh.
they can carry that now uh, and get to read, but stay in the same vein.
Yeah.
Like it was
No,
almost. I think there might be something to this idea of kind of making your protagonist uh, a real person.
yeah. No, I I agree. pretty strongly, actually. That's a really good idea.
Yeah.
I'd have to look because I don't know. I mean, I need a younger boy. I don't have one, but that's I'd want to do something like that. I think that would be fun and interesting, because I mean, the books are based on mythology for one, and like really scholarly papers that have been written by other people about where these creatures came from in mythology. And I thought maybe I could do a little mini series about, and this could be video or whatever, of a fun way to
kind of
describe where the
interesting
difference came from and stuff like that.
Yeah. Is your arc all taking place in, like, when you really think through the what if we were to say, like, J.K. Rowling took the fantasy element as to the peak that you could take it, kind of thing, right? That
Right.
The interesting thing that she did was framing the context of it as Harry's school career, that he grew, the arc of the books went from him at a young age all the way through each year at school, so somebody could grow with him. And so part of the challenge of your protagonist being 14 years old is that he's at the peak, at the top of the age range of what you're looking for, right? As opposed to being able to take a 5-year journey from 7 to 12 or 8 to 13 or whatever. And develop that, it's like, as soon, if you have a 14-year-old right now, that then it has to be like kind of Bart Simpson, that it's the same age for 30 years, I don't know, just thinking out loud here,
I think that'd be good. I could totally lower his age. I mean, that just takes find and replace on my Word document in order.
And the good news is that you've only got 300 people that know, right? And that could be that could build the kind of legend of it in a way, right? Those would be collector's items, the original ones and the fact is that some of them are only in, there's not very many of them in print that way, but that kind of thing, I just feels like that could be an amazing phenomenon if you kind of took that journey from 8 to whatever, but and not knowing what I know about that you kind of then would have to maybe sacrifice that 14-year-olds aren't going to be, or 12 or 13-year-olds aren't going to be as interested in reading about a 7 or 8-year-old, right? Maybe that could be the unintended consequence of it, right? Like that people, you kind of would aspire to read about someone older, because you can put yourself in that thing. But at that age, I don't know that they, but maybe that's where you start with and grow that audience, that way you have a 5-year window of, that you're growing with the same audience. Like if you could get exposed to all the 7-year-olds right now and grow with that, you have a 5-year window with them to grow with them, that becomes a thing. And then it, like the Harry Potter books, in a way that the parents start the kids on, it's almost like at each age they're ready for the next book in the series, kind of thing, But it's one of those things where this is the way of kind of thinking it all the way through, And luckily you're at the point where you could shape it anyway. Any way you wanted to. But when I say about blurring those lines of like the, making that real, is kind of making that YouTube situation almost like, then it's almost like the books are sort of could be field guides almost, right? Of whatever his adventures are that he's happening. It's kind of, and then you could build a, almost like a community of people that way.
Yeah. A lot of the young adult books, the kids, they start. Some of them are a little bit younger, but I think they usually start right around age 10, 11. I know Harry Potter started when he was 11, and a lot of the really popular books, the kids are right around the 10, 11, 12-year-old age as they follow them along in the very first beginning.
Yes.
And so starting there, I think that would be, I'm definitely going to do that. That's a really good idea.
Mm-hmm.
And then creating something that goes alongside it. I mean, my ultimate goal would be to be a media company, right, where I can have all kinds of different things, and the hub of it would be the books, and then all the little spokes around it would really help, kind of make it turn. I think I'm just trying to think of different ways that I can bring something into the video aspect for YouTube and stuff like that. I mean, there's lots of things that I could do. Like, I don't know. I mean, I mentioned doing kind of like little mini documentaries coming from the perspective of James, the name of the main character, James, and him talking about why he loves certain creatures or his favorite things about him, or stuff that he'd recently done with them, or things like that. And I guess they only have to be like 3 to 6 minutes long. Honestly, I don't even have to be really long videos either.
Right. Yeah, I think that could be a really that could be a really interesting thing. You're starting to think now about what other things then it could be like then you get into things like where some of these mythical creatures and stuff become t-shirts and stuff that kids can wear as well.
Yeah, that'd be fun to have a merchandise line. I mean,
well, exactly. I mean, you look at
my kids are already coming up with ideas for t-shirts and stuff for them anyways, and it's so easy to just drop ship and have somebody else do all that stuff.
That's exactly right. But I think that the frequency has to really, to get that level of engagement, you've really got to think that through. And it's got to be more frequent than one book every 6 months, in order to build that kind of thing at that level of that age, to get that level of attention. Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I'm definitely going to read.
I love that we've gone from 5 books to 10 books. We've just doubled your revenue right here. Uh-oh. Hello.
Because I think all the other books would be able to break up into 3 books each.
So there we go. Now you've got a great, that's really a cool thing now. And I think that, it would be encouraging because we're not talking about, kids buying a $300 something that's gonna, they lose interest in after, a few months or a few weeks. We're talking about a $5 book, right? That what parents are going to deny their kids wanting to buy another book, right? Especially those parents, if that's the thing, they're gonna, Dad, can you buy me this book? I want to get this. I really love this series. Can I get the next one? And they're going to feel proud that their kids are enjoying reading and that they've successfully steered them around this abyss of the electronic canyon of death, that they're,
Uh-huh.
my kid loves to read. He can't get enough. He reads them so fast. He's in this new series and he just can't put them down. He's already on the fifth one.
Uh-huh.
You know what I mean? It's like that's kind of a thing that the parents are going to think that their kid is a voracious reader if he's
Uh-huh.
racing through these at that pace, rather than getting through this 250 or 300 page opus, or thing that they have to get through.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, that's funny. Yeah, I
That's
totally agree. I mean,
yeah.
what are you asking the parents to do anyway? Is it just, forego one Starbucks coffee? It's not
It's
like
too
it's gonna
too
be.
low to even register. That's the thing, right? Like that. No, I mean
Yeah.
honestly, that's what we're talking about. That it's not. It's that they're for their kids. It's what else are their kids doing, right? That is so much more. They're
Uh-huh.
spending so much more on in-app purchases on games. I mean, whatever. You've got a cool opportunity there. Well, this is all very exciting, Randall. I mean, it's been, uh, I've had a really enjoyable conversation. How is this landing for you? What are you thinking about the direction or whatever that we kind of went in? What was your take here?
I really, really enjoyed it. I mean, first off, I appreciate that I only had to be nervous for like 2 seconds. Because I've never done something like this before. And secondly, though, I've gotten so many good ideas just from listening to you talk about other people's stuff, but specifically just addressing um, the needs and the wants and stuff of what I'm looking to sell in my target audience. This has been, well, it's been spot on for what I was looking for. Honestly,
Mhm.
I mean, um, some of this stuff, well, most of it, I hadn't even really thought of, and so just the fact that I was able to kind of put a bunch of new thoughts around trying to just sell the same thing. It's been really, really helpful.
That's awesome. Kind of expands your vision for it in a way, right?
Yeah, that's an understatement for sure.
Hmm.
But yeah,
Well, this is all very exciting. You're going to feel like a sense of completion and accomplishment too when the books are coming out faster than one every 6 months. And you get
yeah.
some feedback and reward for that.
Well, and
Um,
honestly, what I'm going to start doing probably is I'm still going to do the 6 months, but it'll be releasing 3 books at a time because
yeah.
it'll be. Um, I much prefer the Netflix model where I can
Yes.
watch and get some closure at the end of it instead of having. I mean, you still have to wait for the next series, but at least you were
Yeah.
able to get in with the characters and see what they're doing and stuff. So I
Yeah.
think that's definitely what I'm going to start doing.
Yeah. I love it. Well, this is all it's very exciting. So I'm going to watch this unfold here. It's going to be really interesting to see where it takes. But I would kind of do give some thought to how you could constrain your kind of awareness campaign to Portland and Vancouver initially to become the most popular series in among that age group in Portland is kind of when you get them talking, you just kind of reverse engineer how would that happen, right? Like
Hmm.
it's an interesting way to think about things.
Yeah, it is. I mean, I'm just thinking about doing stuff. I don't have any contacts, but doing stuff at schools
Yeah,
or libraries and um, somehow getting in the local news, just so that people can see that there's a local author who's written books for kids that have X, Y, and Z in them,
yeah,
and maybe interviews with kids and stuff like that about how they liked the books and things like that.
yeah. Very cool. Well, it's been very exciting. So I appreciate your being willing to share and coming on, and I can't wait to watch it all unfold.
Thanks, Dean. I really appreciate that you took the opportunity to talk to me as well. It really means a lot. So
Thanks, Randall. I'll talk to you soon.
yep. All right. Have a good day.
Bye. And there we have it. Wow. What an exciting adventure to go from, hey, I write these books, to starting to think about how can we create something that is going to, be a convergence of all of the things that have the attention of the target audience, right? If 7 to 12, 13, 14-year-old kids, and, how can you use all of that already existing momentum or attention and build something that they could grow with. So a lot of really interesting concepts there. And I can't wait to see how it all unfolds with Randall. So you can see there, our thinking about building, applying the 8 profit activators here is really about envisioning what would be a dream come true. That's really what we spent our time focused on, right? Is what would be a dream come true and who is the ideal target audience for that? And then we talked about constraining our trying to reach them to a specific geographic area and to build from that foundation. So I can't wait to watch it all unfold. And I love having a variety of businesses like this. I mean, we talk with New York Times bestsellers and in business books, and this was kind of a very different approach here. But I would love to talk to you if you've got any kind of a creative business or anything that you would love to apply the 8 profit activators to. You can get on, communicate with us by going to morecheeselesswhiskers.com. And if you download the More Cheese Less Whiskers book, and if you'd like to be a guest on the show, just click on the Be a Guest link. Tell us a little bit about your business, and then we can get together and hatch some evil schemes for you. So that's it for this week. Have a great week, and I will talk to you next time.